What happens when a deeply personal decision turns into a national controversy? Popular South Korean actress Lee Si-young is back in the spotlight, not for her acting, but for a decision that shocked fans, raised eyebrows, and sparked a heated debate across the country. She's expecting her second child from an embryo created during her past marriage, and reportedly without her ex-husband's consent. This story goes far beyond headlines. So stick with us till the end, because things are much more complicated than they first appear. Lee Si-young is a familiar face in Korean dramas, known for her performances in shows like Boys Over Flowers, Mischievous Kiss, all 3 seasons of Sweet Home, and more recently, Salon Homes. With a long and successful career, she's won over audiences with her acting talent and versatility. But beyond her roles on screen, her private life has always caught the public's attention, especially her relationship and marriage with entrepreneur Cho Sun-yoon. The couple tied the knot in 2017, holding their wedding at the Grand Walker Hill Hotel in Seoul, one of South Korea's most luxurious venues. A year later, they welcomed their son, Young-yoon. While Lee Si-young was already financially comfortable thanks to her acting career, Cho Sun-yoon had his own impressive journey. He launched his food and beverage business at just 20 years old, and by 2021, his company was reportedly making over $2 million annually. His business ventures included trendy places like a rooftop bar in the upscale Cheongdam-dong area and even a salad restaurant designed specifically for Si-young. On the surface, they looked like the perfect couple, successful, stylish, and admired by the public, but inside the marriage, cracks began to show. In a 2021 episode of the show Omniscient Interfering View, Lee Si-young opened up about how things changed after marriage. She shared that before getting married, her husband used to join her for early morning runs, even as early as 4 a.m. But after the wedding, he completely stopped. When she asked why, he simply said, "I don't understand you anymore." This moment got laughs in the studio, with one guest joking that maybe her husband felt marriage was the finish line and no longer saw the need to put in effort. She also mentioned frequent arguments between her husband and their young son. A common point of tension was food. If their son got upset because his father ate something meant for him, her husband would reply, "I paid for it." If the child pointed out that his mom bought it, the husband would insist she used his money. He even said the same about the toys. These everyday disagreements may have seemed small, but they hinted at deeper problems in the relationship. Given all this, it wasn't entirely surprising when, on March 17, it was confirmed that Lee Si-young and her husband were heading for divorce. Her agency, Ace Factory, shared the news with Exports News, stating that the couple had agreed to separate and were in the middle of the divorce process. No reasons were provided, though most assumed it was due to personal differences. And for a moment, it seemed like the story had reached its conclusion, but everything changed again on July 8. That day, an exclusive report came out revealing that Lee Si-young was pregnant with her second child. What stunned everyone was that the father was none other than her ex-husband, the same man she had divorced earlier in the year. This raised serious questions. How could this happen? The answer came quickly. After their first child was born in 2018, the couple had preserved several embryos using IVF. With the storage time about to expire, Lee Si-young decided to use one. She became pregnant, reportedly without informing or getting consent from her ex-husband. At 43, she was still determined to become a mother again, and she had even hinted at it in a recent appearance on YouTube, saying she loved to drink but couldn't at the moment due to personal reasons. After the news went public, her agency confirmed the pregnancy and the identity of the father. They asked for privacy, noting this was a personal matter. Lee Si-young also addressed the issue directly through an Instagram post, which she later deleted. In it, she explained her side of the story. She looked back on her first pregnancy, which had taken place before she was married and while she was busy filming a drama. She admitted that back then, she was younger and less experienced. The stress and anxiety she went through left her with regrets, and she had promised herself that if she ever had another child, she wouldn't let those feelings take over again. She shared that while still married, she had been actively trying to have a second child through IVF. But as time passed and the fertilized embryo wasn't used, divorce discussions began. Right around the time they were finalizing the separation, the embryo's 5-year storage period was about to expire. She was faced with a difficult choice. Unable to bring herself to discard the embryo, she went ahead with the implantation, even without her ex-husband's consent. She emphasized that she would take full responsibility for the decision. In her own words, "I have always longed for a child, and I never wanted to repeat the regrets I felt with Young-yoon. I simply could not bring myself to discard the embryo whose storage period was about to end." She also said that during the hardest moments in her marriage, the word mom gave her strength. It gave her purpose. She knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy and accepted that some people would criticize her, but she promised to face any judgment with humility. Her only focus now was to raise her child with love and responsibility, even as a single parent. Naturally, her statement sparked a heated response online. Many netizens supported her, praising her courage and commitment. They felt that her emotional reasons made sense, especially since the embryo was created during the marriage and time was running out. They admired her willingness to raise the baby alone, without expecting anything from the father, but not everyone agreed. Critics said her actions crossed a line. They pointed out that choosing to implant an embryo without the father's consent raised serious ethical and legal concerns. One comment summed up the unease: the ex-husband may now have a biological child he didn't agree to have. That's deeply unsettling. Others questioned how one person could make such a life-changing decision on behalf of another, especially one that would have lasting consequences for everyone involved, including the child. Shortly after, her ex-husband, Cho Sun-yoon, responded through the media outlet Dispatch. He confirmed that they had originally started IVF 5 years ago as a couple. However, after their separation, he did not give consent to move forward with the pregnancy. Despite this, he acknowledged the situation and said that now that a baby was on the way, he would take full responsibility as the father. He promised to be involved in the pregnancy, birth, and parenting and said he would continue to cooperate with Lee Si-young to raise both their children. He also shared that even after their divorce, they remained in close contact to co-parent their first child. And now, he said, he would extend that same care to the second child as well. Beyond the emotional impact, the situation raised legal questions. Experts explained that South Korean law currently doesn't prevent someone from using a frozen embryo after divorce. According to divorce lawyer Nam Si, both partners must agree at the start, when eggs and sperm are retrieved. But once an embryo is created, the law doesn't require joint permission to implant it. Hospitals might have internal rules, but legally, one parent can go ahead on their own. However, legal issues become more complicated once the baby is born. Former Judge Lee Hyun-gon pointed out that since the child will be born after the marriage ended, the father's legal status needs to be officially confirmed. This can happen either voluntarily or through court. Lawyer Lee Eugene added that under Korean law, any child born within 300 days of a divorce is legally assumed to be the ex-husband's unless he challenges it within 2 years. So even if consent wasn't given, the law may still treat him as the legal father. Just a day after all this news broke, on July 9, Lee Si-young appeared on a YouTube show hosted by comedian Lee Yong-jin, where he reads tarot cards for his guests. She seemed emotional and nervous. She didn't say her question out loud but kept it to herself. After drawing a card, Lee Yong-jin comforted her, telling her not to worry and to keep moving forward. She thanked him, her voice trembling, and admitted that she'd been facing everything alone. She told him he had a gift, and the moment brought her to tears. When she picked another card to ask how things would unfold, the message was hopeful. It predicted peace, success, and good outcomes. She didn't say what exactly she had asked, but fans quickly guessed it had to do with her pregnancy and everything she's been going through. The entire moment revealed just how much emotional stress she's been carrying in private. And it left many wondering how much more there is to her story that we don't yet know. The future for her and her child, particularly around custody and legal responsibilities, remains uncertain. But what's clear is that Lee Si-young is prepared to walk this path no matter how difficult it gets. Thank you for watching till the end. This story is still unfolding, and we'll keep bringing you updates as they happen. Don't forget to like, share, and follow for more real stories that matter.